Hi there my YouTube lovelies, super awesomenesses and welcome back to my channel. Right, where do I start on this? Right, I recently purchased a 2022 Husqvarna 450 FE. And it was a brilliant buy. It's like I said, it's a 2022, and it's only got 0.02 miles on the clock. I mean, this thing's it's brand new. Now the only issue I've got, I paid for the bike, and the bike was delivered, and basically to get it through an MOT, it's got to have indicators. It's an enduro, so it's got a front light and it's got a rear light. But it hasn't got any indicators. Now this bike, it came with an indicator, wiring loom and a kit which you can basically fit onto the bike. And I've tried to fit this thing endlessly. I really have. But basically, the issue is that this part, it fits on the front and it fits all the switches, and you know, it fits everywhere it should do. It's even got the indicator fitments. It's got a part here for the with the flash unit, which is your standard DC. Obviously these indicators aren't LED, they have got a bulb. But yes, everything's here. I've got the nuts and bolts, everything to fit this to the bike. Now where the rear indicator loom, it's fine. It really is. It's absolutely fine. But the front, now apart from, where are we? Apart from this part here, right? All these, they fit in the relevant. They've all got their place. They all fit together. It's all fantastic. And when all this is fitted, you're left with this. Now, there is absolutely nowhere on this bike that I've been all over it everywhere, that this will fit to basically lead it down to a power source, obviously from the battery, from the ECU, and there's nothing there to fit. It's like it's missing a wire which should fit in there, run down the frame of the bike and fit into another part, obviously near the ECU or the power outlet or whatever, and it's just not there. Now there's been plenty. I've been on the internet, I've been on YouTube and all this sort of stuff, like, and you know, I've had people turn around and say, oh, you got to splice this or splice that. I'm not well and truly up on this wiring loom for bikes and stuff like I really ain't. So I'm not confident enough to start chopping away at wires and stuff like, and then bodge them all together just to get like indicators to work. So like I said, the bike is practically brand new. It really is. It's in mint condition, and the last thing I want is like bits of wire everywhere or bleeding electrical tape and all that sort of stuff. I don't want that. I wanted something to go on the bike which would fit from one side with the indicators and the switches and all that sort of stuff, lead all the way down the frame of the bike to a power outlet from the ECU, and then obviously run into the rear, which will obviously sort the rear indicators and obviously everything else which is associated with that. I don't know, rear light, whatever. And it's like I said, I mean, the part number for this kit is 79711081000. And for my bike, which is again a 2022 Husqvarna 450 FE, there is no way of getting power to this unit by this source, this connector. So after struggling endlessly on the internet and going through endless amounts of YouTube channels, I discovered that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I might be wrong. I don't know. I mean, as I said, I'm not savvy on this electrical stuff. But it's like I said, once it was all fitted, there was nowhere for this to go. Nowhere. I went all over the bike, everywhere on the bike. There's nowhere for this to go. So I watched the YouTube channel, and basically he had a completely different wiring loom, and it was all one wiring loom. Obviously with all this at one end, all this at the other end for the rear, and it was just one great big long with two connectors in the middle. So the whole thing was one. I got the part number, and I ordered one, and basically it's this. And the part number for this is 77711081100. So if you can see that by any chance, yes. And this is like a full length. I'll take it out the bag. I'll unravel it like so. And there you go, it's all one length, so that fits. Obviously you've got all your connections and so on, your indicator connections, your indicator light, all your connections to the handlebar switch, and obviously the flasher unit. So that goes at the headlight, then it runs down the bike until you get to this part here, which is for the ECU. There's a connection which I'll show you, because I'll be obviously installing this on this video. That will plug in. But apart from the ECU, which plugs into there, and then the rear light will plug into there, so you've got a continuous route all the way down. And then this, where you've got the indicators, and you've got for the light, which actually shines onto the number plate, which goes into the rear of the bike. So there would be your, this centre part would be your power inlet. Now, I'm going to be fitting this. So obviously, you know, you've obviously got to bear with me, like, it's the first time I've done this. But yeah, I mean, this is exactly the part number that was on the video that I saw, and it all worked. It all worked absolutely fantastic. And this kit, as far as I'm aware, the kit that came with the bike isn't the right kit for the bike. Because as I said, I do not intend to start splicing wires, and you know, I'm just not that savvy with it all. So anyway, I've ordered this, and the funny thing is, or should I say the bad thing about it all is that I actually ordered the bike over Christmas, and it was actually delivered on December the 27th, 2025, and it's taken 3 months for this thing to arrive from Europe. So the bike, it hasn't seen a road yet. It hasn't been anywhere. So it's just been stuck in a shed. While I've been waiting for this, because I can't do anything without this, because obviously I can't get MOT indicators because they're a legal requirement in the UK. So I can't do anything without this. So I'll fit this with the indicators, make sure it all works, which obviously this video is what this video is all about. And once it's all working, then I can actually take this thing in for MOT, get it taxed, and obviously insured and all that sort of stuff, like, and then it should be completely and utterly road legal. So for this video, and there's going to be 3 videos on this. One is installing the light, the wiring loom for the indicators. The other one, actually, I've also got a new LED light, front light, for the bike as well, which obviously replaces the standard bulb, which is obviously the front of the bike. So the LED light system, I think, is far better and brighter and more reliable. But yeah, so I purchased that, so I'll be fitting that once I've fitted the indicators and so on. So yeah, and I'm going to do another video where I'll be fitting the new FMF exhaust. I've got the full system, including what they call a power bomb, so I'll be fitting all that as well. And then I've got new plastics. Obviously I've got to fit new graphics to those plastics, then obviously fit the plastics, and then the engine side protectors. I've got these 2 for the ignition and the other side, like, so they've got to be fitted as well. So over about 3 videos, all this will be done, like, and I've got like 4 days in this weekend, this Easter weekend, to get all this done. So yes, so that's the plan of action. So please bear with me, and let's crack on. Now, as you can see, this is the Husqvarna 450 FE. She's absolutely, like I said, spanking brand new. To install this wiring loom, I've got to obviously remove all the plastics, seat and so on. So we shall start that now. Now, to remove the seat, there's a little bolt underneath these plastics. So the first plastic panel I'll be removing is actually the air filter cover. So basically, to remove this, put your fingers behind the frame, like so, and just give it a little push out. You hear the click? and then you move forward, and then you just pop the other one, and then the other one, and then move it slightly forward, like so, and pull it out. It's a bit awkward, but there you go. It just clips out, and so on, like that, and then which then opens up. You've got your air filter, and then inside, sorry, just here, sorry, you've got a little screw. It takes a Torx fitment, which I should show you that just now. Right, it's a Torx T30, if you can possibly see that. It will focus, and that basically goes in a bolt. You turn it obviously counterclockwise, unscrew the bolt, and it just pops out like that. Now to remove the seat, you just pull it back, like so, and it comes straight off. Right, we're at the opposite side of the bike, which is the right hand side as you sit on it, the exhaust side, and then you've got this panel here, and obviously that has to be removed too. It's pretty much the same as before. You've got little connectors which you can just pull, and they just sort of clip out. There's one in here too, and it just comes off. I know it's a little bit tight, but these things are absolutely brand new. So yeah, so that's been removed. Right, and now for the right hand cowling. This part here, these plastics have to come off. So you've got 2 bolts on the inside, and again using a Torx 30. So you undo the screws, undo the bolts, like so. And as you can see, the bottom bolt is longer than the top bolt, so make sure they all go back together exactly the same way. And there you go, that's the 2 front bolts removed. Now on top of the cowling, you've got 2 bolts. I'm using a ratchet with a 6mm ratchet bit. And that's the second one. And now you just move it forward, sorry, you move it back, and it should just slot out. There you go, absolutely sorted. As you can see, you've got that part there which basically hooks into this on the tank. So as soon as that's clear, the whole thing will just come off. And now exactly the same with the other side. You got 2 bolts on the inside by the air intakes. And these 2 bolts on the on the left hand side of the bike as you're sitting on it are exactly the same size. So obviously the right hand side of the bike while you're sitting on it, obviously the bottom one is longer and the top one is shorter. So yes, so they all go back exactly the same way. Right, same again for this side, 2 bolts at the top, 6mm socket. and then like before, pull this part of the cowling slightly back towards you, and then just push it back, and then it instantly comes off. Now we've got to take the tank off. So basically what we've got here, obviously this is the tank. We've got like the connection to the carb, which is the fuel hose, and to release this, there's a little clip at the top which you push down, and it instantly pops out. Did you see that? Push it in. Oh. There you go, and it instantly comes out. Now be careful with this, because inside of here, if I can get the thing out, you've got a little fuel filter. You just make sure you don't lose that. So that just pops in there. So then the hose is disconnected from the tank itself. On the right hand side, as you sat on the bike, you've got a little sensor connection which operates the sensor to obviously tell you whether the fuel tank is low or full, and obviously that's going to be removed too. So by doing that, you just unclip that there, push it down, and the whole thing comes out like so. Right, on the inside of the tank, on the top, you've got a little bolt on a rubber, like a big rubber thick washer, and that's going to be removed as well. That's actually connected to the frame. So with another a Torx 30, pop it in anti-clockwise, give it a turn, and there you go. And now with all the bolts removed, you can just lift the tank off like so. Right, and now for the front light, and basically what these are held on with rubber bands, which believe it or not, are really robust. So it's really cool. So to remove those, and that's all it takes. And exactly the same for the opposite side. There you go. Now the whole light can just be lifted up off the front mud guard. There's two little locations. And there you go. You can move it to one side. Now with the front light, let's say semi-removed. Now I'm going to completely remove that front light. Because I've opted for an upgrade on the front light, and I got this upgrade from the bike house. Now I will be putting all the links obviously in the description of the video, so anybody got one of these bikes and they want to take a look, please feel free to get the part numbers, have a look, see what you think. Now the difference obviously between this and the main light that I've got on the bike at the moment is simply the standard light that's on the front of the bike at the moment is like a bulb, a bulb thing going on there, sort of thing, like, and this one is LED. So I prefer LEDs. They're brighter, they're a lot more reliable, and I don't know, I just personal preference, I just think they look better. So I'll open this and give you a look. Comes in a nice little baggie. So pull this out like so, and it's even got the new rubbers that go on the bike, because like at the end of the day, all the plastics that I'm taking off the bike are the original Husqvarna. Obviously when I put the new plastics on with the new graphics on, then obviously I'll be putting the original plastics all in the bags that obviously contain the new plastics, and they'll all be put into storage. Obviously they'll be kept with the bike. Not saying I'd ever sell the bike, I've got no intention of it, but I mean, if I ever did, all the original plastics will be obviously in exactly the same condition as they were when I was obviously brand new. So yes, anyway, so this is the light, and as you can see, It's even got the original surround, which I obviously ordered. Obviously the connections and so on inside the light. It's all been wrapped, so it's absolutely spotless. But yes, this is a modification that I'm adding to the bike. Obviously the LEDs, which is going to look absolutely fantastic. The surround, obviously I wanted to go with the original colour. And again, with the original, it's got like indicator location points, obviously on both sides. So yeah, I mean that's obviously going to make the job a lot easier having to drill holes like I'm going to have to do with the rear. But yeah, and it's got the locations, these 2 pins here, which actually fit into the front mudguard. So obviously, like I said, it's like a location. So yeah, so I'll be fitting this. I'll be taking that front light off, putting it in a bag, keep it safe. And obviously I'll be installing this, which is basically it really is a case of plug and play. So it's all good. Right then, to remove, I have to remove the plastic surround, obviously because the plastic surround houses the cables as a runner all the way through. So obviously to take this this complete unit off, obviously I have to take this off so I can obviously free the cables, and obviously we've got 1, 2 and 3 bolts there, and they look like a Torx 30. They are actually a Torx 20, if you can see that. So right, so a Torx 20 on this. So we'll undo the bottom one first. They're not very tight, so nice and gentle. Unattach this little connection which connects the light to the main wiring loom. Pull that out and it'll drop down, and we release the cables, and there you go. That's the light being removed. See what I mean about the twin bulbs? And that's obviously the standard application, obviously for when you're buying this bike brand new, and obviously I'm replacing these with the LEDs. Now it's time to remove the rear fender. Now to do this job, there's bolts obviously on the top and underneath. I'm removing the whole thing together, hence I'm taking the tail tidy out because I've got to drill holes in the tail tidy, obviously to feed wires. So it's obviously very convenient for me to remove the whole rear end. Basically, I was dreading this because I hadn't got a clue how to remove this thing. I really hadn't. So I'll give you, I'll show you the bolts that need to be removed, and then we'll crack on. Right then, to remove the rear fender, I'll take you underneath the bike, and from there you'll be able to see the bolts. Right, first of all, we've got a bolt here on both sides, which has to be removed. Then we've got this one here, which has to be removed, same on both sides. And then I don't know if you'll be able to see, there's a little bolt right there on both sides, which is attached to the top cowling, which both of these have to be removed. And then on the top, it's that one there. You got like a bolt on both sides, which if you can see the top, holds these two in place. So obviously remove the bolts, and then obviously squeeze these out because they're actually into a little grommet, a little recess inside the subframe. So these get prized in, and then once all the bolts have been removed, the whole thing just basically slots out. So using an 8mm socket. And then on the, if you can see, on the little screws up here, which are right in there, and they're really quite awkward to get into, to be fair, with something straight, should I say. So basically what I'm using is a small T20 torque bit and a 6mm spanner, and what I do is I locate it into the hole of the torque screw, hold it in with my finger, and basically attach the screwdriver, the spanner, and then basically turn it while applying force into the bolt. So if I put that into place, like so. There you go. And with the 6mm socket, remove these screws. There you go. That was a bit awkward. And it just basically pops out. And hook the wire, give it a bit of slack. And there we go. Now to disconnect the rear light switch, which you just push those in, like so. And then it just detaches like that. And then you can feed this through. And basically there's your rear cowling taken off the rear of the bike. Now to remove the white plastic cowling from the actual subframe. Now this thing around, you can see that, around these edges, they're sort of like moulded in to the shape of the tail tidy. So you know, don't be so what can I explain, gentle with it, because it is quite tough. Like, but basically what you do, you just squeeze them in. You got like little grommets on the inside which just unattach, and then it just pops out like so. So there you've got your tail tidy slash subframe away from the plastic cowling, and obviously there's your cowling. Now, as you can see, there's all my plastics, including the light, the cowlings, the seat, the tank, all placed on the floor, tidy, so you know where everything goes, all with the relative screws. So yes, all neat and tidy and safe, so nothing gets lost. Right, for the indicators, I've gone to a company. If you can see that, Leadperf, German I believe. They're sequential indicators. I wanted something a little bit special for the bike, to be fair. So yes, I mean they're not cheap, but I did actually quite like them very much. Again, really quite stylish, quite thin, low profile, should I say. And they come obviously with 10-watt resistors, which have to be fitted again into the bike. And I bought these off eBay. don't know if you can see like a part number or anything on there. And basically what this just ties the whole thing up. So basically the indicators will fit to the resistor, and then with these will fit to the resistor too, but then lead to the wiring loom that I bought for obviously easy connection. So there's no cutting or chopping or anything like that. Like, it's all really plug in and play. So it just makes life a whole lot easier. So I got 4, obviously 2 for the front, 2 for the rear. They come with obviously each indicator comes with its own resistor, so you've got 4 10 watt resistors, and yes, it's just a question of assembling them and banging them into the bike. Right then, so how I'm going to work this is like from the top of the number plate I'm going 50mm, like a little dot, and then from the top of that line there, if I can smack onto that. I'll go about 8mm down. So that's where I want my hole. And the same with the other side. So we're going 50mm. I'll go the other way for a sec. Line up with the top. And 8mm down. So that's where I'm going to drill my holes. Right, I'm going to start off with a 3mm drill to create a pilot hole. And always remember, people out there, when drilling or grinding or doing any jobs like that, health and safety first. Right. So that's the pilot hole, and then get the indicator. Obviously it's going to be that part there going through the hole, and that's 8mm. So we're going to use, going through the pilot hole, we're going to be using an 8mm drill. 8mm drill. And then I'm going to get myself a little countersink and just take away some of these burrs. I don't know if you can see that, and there you go, on both sides. Right, and what we do then is we feed the connectors through one at a time, like so. Feed it through the hole all the way. I've taken the nut off the indicator, so that'll feed in all the way. And then we reinstall the nut one at a time on the connectors, or else they won't fit. So there, bring the nut up to the thread on the indicator. just offer it up. So get a 12mm spanner. And if you can see that, and then from the back, you've got your nuts, you've got your wires coming through, all bolted in, and there you go, all sorted. So basically what I've done, if you can see in there, I've drilled 2 holes, 5mm holes either side, and run the wires through along the line. So if I turn it over, as you can see, there's the line, there's the wires, the indicators running through holes at the sides to go through, and basically to follow the rear light wiring loom all the way down, which will obviously be tidied up in a bit once I get some tie holes. So yeah, so they come for the holes and run the same route as the rear light wiring loom. So there you go. Right then, just to demonstrate how these indicators go together, you've got your main indicator with obviously its connection leads. You've got a 10-watt resistor, and then you've got an extension on the other side with an easy to clip-in connector. They're all basically bayonet pushing connections. Apart from that part which fits into the wiring loom of the bike. So we go black into black, and it really is just a push in. So basically, you've got this kind of scenario that you just push it in like so, take the rubber up to the stop, and then push the sleeve over to basically make it relatively waterproof. So it's like that. And obviously red goes to the yellow. And it's the same again with this. And push it in. And then just cover it with the rubber. Like so. And they connect like that. So then we come to connecting the extension part with the easy clip at the end, and it's exactly the same again. Black into black, and then cover it with the rubber cover, and then the yellow, exactly the same, goes into the red, like so, and then cover it with the rubber. Like so. And then once that part is initially connected to your wiring loom, then obviously supplies power to, once you've turned the switch, supplies power to the indicator, and then there you go, and that's your initial setup. Right then, to install the indicators on the new LED front light cover. Again, like the rear, take the indicator, take the nut off and the washer, Actually, you don't need to take the washer off because it's flanged. So one connection at a time. So it'll fit through the hole. Put it through, and there you go. So basically, you got, it's that hole there, the bigger one. So place the wires through the hole, reinstall the nut. Off the indicator up to the hole, bring the nut down, get a 12mm spanner. And here's one I prepared earlier. So if you can see, indicators on both sides, like so. Absolutely awesome. And then we've got the rubber restraints, which fit in like so through the slots at the side of the cowling. Like so. So basically, I've taken the 2 screws off, if you can see there. That one there, and that one there. And then, you see the gap? And I just push it, not too far, just the gap there. It still leaves 3 screws on, which is obviously that one, and the light adjuster at the back. So yeah, so that should be a little gap there. That should be enough there to slot the cables through. And then as soon as the cables are slotted through, then just put the screws back in. Now, if you can see these 2 recesses on the front mudguard, like so, underneath you've got 2 little prongs, the bayonets you could say, which those 2 insert into this. Obviously when you finish obviously setting your light height and obviously sorting out all your electrics and that sort of stuff. But going back to this cable, as you can see again, see the gap right there? Those cables fit down there to keep everything nice and tidy. And all you have to do is undo the 2 screws like I showed just a second ago. Just prise it apart gently, and these things just slot in like so, like that. And now you can just put your screws back on, and there we have the screws all put back in place, like so. And obviously your cables running through the plastics, front plastics, and then that's absolutely awesome. And all the cables are free, indicator cables are free to be connected. So yeah, absolutely awesome. Right then, that's the wiring loom, and obviously that part there is to the rear of the bike, and then you got the power connections to the ECU, and we got a dog. And then you can tell which is the front, because obviously you've got your connection to the switch, and then you got your indicator light as well, and obviously all the other bits and pieces on there. So yeah, so front to rear, front all the way through to your power connection, and then all the way through to the rear indicators. Right then, my lovelies. Right now, I sort of I came across a bit of a problem with these with all this wiring loom stuff. Now, I've got to be absolutely honest. Like I fitted the new one, the new loom, and you know it all worked really cool, but the indicators didn't work, and I was left, I've got to be honest, scratching my head, wondering where we're going wrong, what have I done wrong. It all fitted, it all connected in, it all plugged into everything that it was supposed to, everything was rocking and rolling. Turned the bike over, engine started, and tried the indicators, and there was absolutely nothing at all. Now, I'm going to be absolutely honest, yeah, there's a connection on this, and it's a 4-pin connection. There's I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and get close up on this. Can anybody see that? It's like you've got 2 white wires going into 1 pin. You've got a brown, I don't know if you can see that, brown going into another pin. You've got a white and green going into another pin, and then you've got a yellow and blue. It's a yellow wire with a blue stripe, which is that one, going into another pin. So if you can see into there, there's 4 pins, and they're all connected. They're all wired up, and you know this is a direct into the connector on your ECU. And this bottom part here, this other piece, fits in to the wiring loom from your backlight, goes directly into this, and this goes directly into your ECU connection, which I'll show you in just a moment. Now, on the ECU connection, which you take the rear out, and then you put this in, and then the rear goes into this one, sort of thing. So basically you're splicing into the wiring loom. Now on this, you've got like a 4-pin connection, and when I put this into the connection on the ECU, I looked at the ECU connection, and there's only 3 inlets. There's only 3 wires going into it, like, and the one and the indicators wouldn't work. There was nothing there, absolutely nothing at all. Now I realised that the brown wire was connected, the 2 wires into one, which is 2 white wires into one, that was connected, and the green and white wire was connected. But the yellow wire with the blue stripe wasn't. There was nothing there. There was nothing on the other end from the bike's point of view, from the connection from the bike into this. That blue and yellow and blue stripe wire, there was no connection to that whatsoever. And looking at the whole bike and looking at the way it had all been wired up, that was the only thing, the only wire that I couldn't see that was connected. I mean, I believe me, I went through it with a fine-tooth comb. I really did. Now, this yellow and blue wire connects to the flasher unit. You get a flasher unit, obviously, if you're installing LEDs. You've got to get an LED flasher unit, and the 2 wires that come out of that flashing unit are black and red. Now, on the connection to the flasher unit, it comes out of two wires. There's an orange and one of exactly the same colour as this. This is where this leads, the yellow and blue. Now, the yellow and blue wire that connects into the flasher unit connects into the positive, which is the red wire, and the orange wire connects into the negative, the black wire. So initially, what I was thinking about, there's nothing going to this yellow and black. So presumably, if that's going into the red wire, which is the positive wire, right, there's supposed to be a power source running into this yellow and blue wire and into the red wire, the flashing unit, and there wasn't anything there. And I studied hard and all that sort of stuff, like on the internet and all that sort of stuff, and I couldn't find anything. And yet there was a couple of on a couple of the forums, people have been having the same issue, looking at this yellow and blue stripe wire, and there's nothing connecting it to it from the bike connection. Now, I sort of like, I don't know a lot about electrics, I really don't. So basically what I did is I got a piece of red electrical wire, connected it to the battery, the live part of the battery, and connected it on into the pin with the yellow and blue wire, and everything worked. Absolutely everything worked. The indicators, everything. It just worked perfect. So basically, what I had to do is I had to get like a copper washer, which and the length of red wire. I cut the ends off, obviously, to reveal the wire inside, the core wire. I soldered one part of one part of the red wire to the copper washer and connected it to the battery, the live part of the battery. And don't forget, when you disconnect the battery, you always take the negative off first and then the live. Yeah. So, and then when you put it all back together, it goes live first, then negative. Very important that is. So basically what I did is I took the negative off and then I took the live off. I placed the washer onto the live and put the other end of the wire into the connector, right, with a pin, because I got some spare pins, which are basically, see those little round pins in there. So it's one of those. I think they're definitely female pins. The female pins. All you need is the one, and you're just putting it into the opposite side to this. That actually comes off the bike because it won't be there. So I put it into there, and I connected. I soldered the other side of the red wire from the battery. Obviously, it wasn't on the battery at the time. So I soldered the red wire. One part of the red wire is soldered to the copper washer, and the other part is soldered to the pin. Then I placed the pin inside the bike connection, and then obviously applied this again. So obviously by that, so basically all the connections are joined up, including the yellow wire with the blue stripe, and that then connected directly to the power source from the battery. Hopefully that makes some sense. Which I'll show you in a minute, because obviously I've got the bike out there. And it starts the bike over, and I hit the indicator switch, and everything worked. Everything was absolutely bang on. Now, my bike is a 2022 Husqvarna FE, and it's brand new. It's got 0.02 on the clock, so it's practically, it really is brand new. And as far as I'm concerned, the connection will be on any of the make of this model. Will be exactly the same. I'm not quite sure whether there's a thing to go on by a European model or an American model, or whether they're different in some way. All I know is that my bike, which is obviously must be a European model, which I've got, did not have a power connection to this connection to the yellow wire with a blue stripe. So there was initially there was no power at all going to the flasher unit. So like I said, I took the power from the battery directly to the connection which connects the yellow and blue stripe wire, and when there was power running through that into the flasher unit, the LCD flasher unit, everything worked. Everything just kicked in. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. It really was. So it's very important that I mention that. The other thing is that when I did get this wiring loom, the long one, it's only for the wiring loom. It's very important that is. Now this box connection, which the front part of this just wouldn't connect to anything, sort of thing. It came with a switch, which is obviously on which fits to the already existing switch on the left hand side of your control on your handlebar. So basically what I did is obviously I turned it upside down, took the original switch bottom off, and then connected the switch to the underneath, screwed it all in, which is your indicator switch, and then it just all kicked in, and then you get a length of wire which goes down, and a connection obviously from the wiring loom which fits. And it's exactly the same as this. This fits this one here. It's like a three female pin thing. There you go. That part there fits to the wire and the connection that comes off that switch. So once that's fitted into this, then it's entered the wiring loom. It's got all the power and so on and so forth. So yeah, so that switch came with this, which is the 79711081000 part number on that. And that comes as a pack. It comes with your indicators, which are normal bulb indicators. It comes with your switches. It comes with your standard flasher unit. This is for bulbs, not LED. So this is for obviously your standard flasher unit. It comes with the indicators, which are these. And I don't particularly like those. They're bulb indicators, and I didn't want that on my bike. I wanted LEDs. They're just more efficient, they're just more reliable, and so on. So yeah, so this comes in the pack with the switch, with everything else. And again, like I said, this long one that I bought, the 77711081100, which is the part number on that, didn't come with any switches. It just came with the wiring loom. So I sort of like spliced them both together. I've used the switch out of that to coincide with the long wiring loom. So I had to really make a point on that, in case anybody's stuck out there fitting this bleeding wiring loom and all of a sudden nothing works. And the only reason why it doesn't work is because there's no power supply going to the yellow and blue stripe wire that's in this connection, which fits directly to the bike's ECU connection. Right, I'm glad we got that straight. Right then, now we're into the obviously the wiring of the bike. This is the ECU, fuse box, and all the connections and all that sort of stuff. So basically what it is that this is the connection from the ECU, and at the moment, don't know if you can see that, but you've got four female pins in there at the moment. Now, I've got to be absolutely honest, when I originally came to this, when you open, if you've got one of these bikes and you look at this part of the ECU connection, there'll only be 3 connections. There'll be obviously these 3 here, and this one, this connection here, that's the one, right, that fits to this yellow and blue wire. Now this yellow and blue wire, like I said, fits to the flasher unit. It fits to the positive wire of the flasher unit. If you run it all the way down this wiring loom, which is the long wiring loom, which I showed you a couple of minutes ago. Now there's when I connected this, all these 3 wires, the white and green, the brown, and the double white, which goes into a pin all by themselves, they fitted to that pin, and that pin, female pins, and this one didn't exist. So if you look inside there, you got a little groove, and that little groove fits inside that groove there, so they'll only fit one way. They'll only go in one way. So when I fitted this in, like so, this wire here, the yellow and blue, there was nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there whatsoever. So initially, right, given that one there went to the flasher unit, to the live wire of the flasher unit, there's supposed to be power going through into this to power the flasher unit, and there wasn't anything there. So basically what I had to do is I had to salvage a pin from the other wiring loom, which obviously didn't fit anyway, which didn't work anyway. Take that pin out, fit it into here, and you see this red wire here? I had to obviously cut a length of red wire, feed it through onto the pin, obviously solder it to the pin, put the pin inside the bike's connection, and then run this wire, as you can see in just a sec. If I take this off, onto the live output of the battery. I soldered this onto a copper washer and then just put it onto the live part of the battery and then fastened it all up, and obviously covered this up, sort of thing like. But it's like I said before, when you remove the battery, you always take the negative off first and then the live. So if you're disconnecting that sort of, and when you're putting it all back together again, the live goes on first, then the negative. They're very important, that is. So yeah, so that was initially your power feed to that pin, which then delivers power right through this yellow and blue wire, down your wiring loom, all the way up to your flasher unit. And now the thing absolutely works a treat, which I shall demonstrate shortly. So, as you can see, this is the wiring loom from the front of the bike. I routed it all the way down, followed the original, the headset wiring loom, all the way down underneath. Here it is again, all the way from underneath the frame, all the way through to the top of the ECU, and then to the connections on the ECU. So that was absolutely spot on that. And as you can see there, there's your flasher unit, there's your indicators. I've taped all these up because it is a real mess in there if you don't do that, which I should have filmed it, to be honest. But the connections, all the connections in this wiring loom, they'll only fit what they're meant to fit. They're just shaped that way. It's like the switch, which I'll show you now. Now, as you can see here, this is the switch. Now this switch came with that wiring loom that came out of the box, which I didn't use because the front part of that just did not fit at all. It didn't connect to anything, but it did come with the switch. So initially what I did was basically took the original bottom of the original switch off, which is exactly the same shape and size, and put the switch from the box, turned it upside down, put it in, 2 screws, and then obviously you got your wiring loom, which fits all the way down the bike into the main headset, sort of thing, like, which you connect up to that wiring loom which I fitted. So yeah, now this is done exactly the same with the front indicators as well. As you can see, each indicator has a 10 watt resistor. We've got like a little recess on the subframe, as it was, sort of thing, like, which these fit in really nice. These are all your connection wires, which feed all the way down to this plug here. Now this plug here fits in to the original backlight switch, and again it'll only fit one way, so that just fits in there like so. It goes underneath where the airbox is and up for the bottom into the ECU. And obviously, again, going by the modification that I did with the yellow and blue wire with the red direct power output from the battery, that fits into there like so, and they all fit into the top of the ECU snug like so, which is all really cool. And then obviously the rear indicators. You take care. And like with the rear indicators, they come from the bottom, they run through the main subframe, they come out of this part here, and then you got all your wires, obviously to the resistors there. And obviously when the panel goes on, it'll cover all this up, which is absolutely awesome. And again, all connected up to that part there. So yeah, I mean, it's so far so good. I mean, I'm just really pleased it all works. I'm really pleased. Only down to that one wire, that one feed. Honestly, that'd have been an absolute nightmare, that would have. Right then, now to demonstrate the indicators, we're going from left to right. And the light as well. And now for the rear. Then to conclude this video, that's the wiring loom, indicators, all the electrics, modifications and so on done to the bike. I've taken obviously the video clips of the indicators working and so on, and now to just to reiterate that, you know, if it weren't for that leap of faith, you could say, because like I said, I'm no electrician, especially on motorbikes, or if I can wire a plug and that's about my limit. But yeah, if it weren't for that wire connection, that direct feed from the battery to that pin, which connects to the flasher circuit, that would have been a complete failure just because of one wire. So yeah, I'm glad I did it, and it all works absolutely fine, which you've seen. So yes, I'm really pleased at the result. So all the plastics are back on now, and the bike's finished. And can I just add, thank you so very much for watching this video. I've tried to put in there as much as I possibly can, because it's like I said, I've seen on some forums that people have had the same issue of this missing wire on, especially the Husqvarna 450 FE, sorry. So yeah, I hope that's shed some light on that situation. It's like I said, you've seen for yourself on the video that everything works absolutely fantastic because of that, just that one wire, and you know, I mean, I'm over the moon with it now, actually, to be honest. It can go for its MOT now, which then it can get taxed, obviously insured and so on, and then that bike again will be on the road, which I can't wait for. It's going to be absolutely mint. So yes, anyway, thank you so very much for watching this video. And again, if there's anything in this video that you like, because I've got to be honest, I'm just straight. I'm no expert on anything. I'm not, but things work out, and when they work out, it's, you know, it's good to share. So anyway, yeah. So if you like the video and you like the channel, please put a thumbs up, up there, whatever, and like and subscribe, sort of thing, if you feel the need. Until then, until we meet again, thank you very much for watching, and absolutely bloody awesome.